joy of getting together and making music again.
He's one of the most innovative people in the glass arts in the world.
We do it to help a kid say, you're important, you mean something.
Today on Spotlight, 1 million twinkling lights illuminate the Botanical Garden. Plus, a St. Louisan authors a book about Dale Chihuly. And then she's called the Jewish Santa, how she's helped thousands of families over 50 years. But first, bring Christmas carolers into your home, virtually. It's Sunday and you're watching Spotlight.
Despite the pandemic, Christmas carols still sound just as sweet. But the carolers sure look different.
Well, we're making the best of it this year.
The Bach Society of St. Louis has been performing a Christmas candlelight concert every year for almost 70 years. But this time, for the first time, it will be presented virtually. I suppose the easy thing would have been to just cancel the concert this year. You had to cancel some others. Why did you decide to go ahead with the Christmas concert?
I will tell you personally, the Christmas concert is my most favorite event of the season that we have. It's just magical. This is such an important concert for people, and they long for it every year to come and attend, and I felt like we needed to make the bold decision and the tough decision to move forward and try to make it happen.
We had this wonderful footage from a TV broadcast from several years ago, and we found that we could quite safely put together a very small group of singers in a very large space. In this case, we used St. Peter Cathedral in Belleville, which is quite immense, so we could safely record a few new pieces, put this all together, and come up with a finished product that I think people will really enjoy watching at home.
The virtual concert runs about an hour, made possible by the choristers brave enough to give it a try, and HEC TV, which is handling production of the video. What was it like trying to record the new portions with singers with masks, singers standing apart, you standing back?
I think kind of a nightmare. We're not used to singing in masks. Especially it's hard, I think, for a conductor because our face becomes such an important part of the communication to the singers, and when we have an orchestra, the players as well.
I was nervous. How are you going to breathe? How are you going to not sweat to death when you have this mask on? But I'll tell you, the joy of getting together and making music again and singing these beautiful carols that you love and treasure and get so excited about hearing every year around this time was all worth it.
COVID-19 forced the Bach Society to cancel 9 concerts and a fundraiser this year. They've tried to help fans fill in the gap by making highlights of past Bach Society concerts available on YouTube. But the virtual Christmas candlelight concert is a one-time only performance, available online Wednesday, December 23rd at 7 p.m. To view it, you can purchase a ticket for $15. Information is available at bachsociety.org.
Since 1951, the Christmas Candlelight Concert has been an unbroken tradition in St. Louis, and we weren't going to let it fail.
We know that it's not ideal, but it's better than nothing. And I just can't imagine that day when we all get back together in the same room and sing with this huge audience, and how emotional and wonderful that experience is going to be, and everyone will be beating down the doors to get in. I'm excited for that.
Follow HEC Media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
There are plenty of outdoor holiday light displays in St. Louis, but not many that require you to also be outdoors to enjoy them.
I think one of the things that separates us from the ones where you get in the car and go is you can get immersive in this, a lot of different family photo ops, roast s'mores, get around the fire pits, just really brings everybody a little closer together. We have well over 1 million lights now. So the first couple of years it was less than that. Last year we went over 1 million. We've added even more this year, so we just say it's over 1 million. We go through a lot of little fuses.
And setting up all those lights and displays is a process that begins in September and wraps up sometimes just hours before they throw the switch, and just in time for employees to begin tending their own holiday decorating if they can muster the energy.
I'm one of those that's like, oh, I don't even want to see a Christmas light at home, but my wife and family obviously want to be able to have lights up, so I get to get out there and do my own lights even after being a part of installing 1 million of them.
The Garden Glow takes full advantage of its natural assets as well as the garden's man-made structures so iconic in daylight.
One of the interesting notes of our Climatron is that all of the lights on there are LED, and there are I think something around 700 strands of lights that are on that, the structure, but it takes about the same amount to power 4 house lamps. We have tried to think of the energy efficiency that go along with the sustainability initiative of the garden.
The Garden Glow has become the garden's most popular event of the year, not just because it celebrates the joy of the season, but because it gives visitors a chance to truly see the Missouri Botanical Garden in a different light.
This gives them another reason to enjoy the garden and really make this a 365-day cultural attraction.
You just never know where that spark is going to come from.
You're putting a human touch to everything through the vehicle of art. We give them the ability to hope.
Dale Chihuly's glass artwork is stunning, often massive, and sometimes baffling.
How did he make this? And how did he put 1,000 glass pieces together on an outside sculpture? They don't break or whatever. I was wowed by a lot of the pieces.
Jan Greenberg first had those thoughts in 2006 when these Chihuly art pieces were installed as part of an exhibition at the Missouri Botanical Garden in St. Louis. It took 14 years, but she's finally able to share some answers to her questions in her latest children's book, World of Glass, The Art of Dale Chihuly. She and co-author Sandra Jordan spent 3 days in Washington at the Pilchuck Glass School Chihuly founded, and Boathouse Hot Shop, where they interviewed the art innovator, who told them he's never met a color he didn't like. Those vibrant colors are on full display in this beautiful book, the 14th by the best-selling team on art and artists.
He had an image that he did not want to just see his work in museums. He wanted to get it out in the gardens, in the public parks, in the street corners, and he wanted his art to be inclusive for people to enjoy. It was so much fun doing the Chihuly book. It really was. And the book is good in terms of talking about process. We've always been interested in showing young people that there is a process and that artists have to learn their skills and be able to communicate. He is the most amazing person, wonderful personality, his staff, everybody that works for him. It's a huge group. He's one of the most innovative people in the glass arts in the world.
These are books for kids. Are you hoping that they see that, what you love now, you can do something with? Is there a message there?
I mean, we want to inspire them, but we also want to entertain and tell a good story. For young people, being experimental, taking risks, and that's what every artist that we've written about has had to do. And also, you can follow your dreams. And I think that was important for us to share with young people because it's the passion toward wanting to do something and make it work.
Text Greenberg to 31996 to watch the full interview and find out why Chihuly himself sent both authors 30 books and what they were about. Or download our Talking with Authors podcast.
HEC Media presents Talking with Authors, the podcast. Your favorite writers and genres with diverse subjects and styles, like Jenna Fisher with The Actor's Life, a survival guide.
The book is literally about my journey from St. Louis to Hollywood.
With new podcasts dropping bi-weekly. Subscribe to Talking with Authors.
We are super excited to kick off the holiday season at the National Museum of Transportation this year. It's been a strange year, but a lot of the tradition and the things that we've always done is still the same with a little change. So the Famous and Bar display is set up in our Orthwine Center. That's where it often is. We did split up our large holiday displays for this pandemic year. So the Famous and Bar display was downtown St. Louis. It was set up on the corner of the street and people could go by and see it. And then when Macy's took over, they asked the museum if we wanted to set it up and make a display out of it. And we were happy to make that happen. We have some great staff and volunteers that have worked on it to make it look like it does today. Grandparents will come and say they used to look at it in person on the street corner and they'll bring their grandkids and they get a real kick out of it. It seems like the longer you look at it, the more neat things you'll see. Most years it looks about the same. We want it to look like it did back then, but you'll never know what kind of little fun changes you might see. Some fun characters in there. The other display is the E. Desmond Lee display, so that is in our automobile building this year. People come every year to see that one as well. They can look at the different characters and find fun things that have been added each year. So Santa and the reindeer and Mrs. Claus, they will be visiting for some select days. Santa set up in a vintage truck up by our automobile building, so we're trying to make photos as safe and as distanced as possible.
I enjoy coming here because of all the kids I get to see. A lot of times I don't get to see everybody. It's fun to be here. I enjoy the trains, the cars, looking around the museums. The kids seem like they're a little more relaxed. It's a little bit more laid back than being at a mall or someplace. Here you kind of take your time. It's just a fun place to be.
So our holiday displays are set up until the beginning of the year. So you can come out and see the holiday train displays until then. Santa and the reindeer will be here for select dates, so you can learn more at our website at tnmot.org. Reservations are required for our peak days and when we have those special visitors.
Music from the Holiday Spectacular later on Spotlight.
The remarkable success of first-generation COVID-19 vaccines is encouraging to the scientific community.
Our perspective, this is kind of a home run, a dream response to the vaccines.
Dr. Rachel Presti is leading the effort at Washington University to conduct COVID-19 vaccine trials. In November, pharmaceutical companies Moderna and Pfizer reported their vaccines are 95% effective in clinical trials. That's when St. Louis University's role was highly publicized. In St. Louis, this is where the Phase 3 clinical trial for the Moderna vaccine is taking place, along with media coverage of Mayor Lyda Krewson's tour of the SLU Center for Vaccine Development.
Chance really to highlight the unique role that St. Louis is playing and our institutions are playing in the fight against COVID-19.
Dr. Sharon Fry is principal investigator.
The people should be very excited that at least two vaccines so far, both the Pfizer and the Moderna study vaccines look like they're going to be effective and will be available soon for use.
Dr. Fry is also principal investigator for Johnson & Johnson's Janssen vaccine clinical trial. The Center for Vaccine Development is enrolling participants who will either receive this Janssen COVID-19 vaccine candidate or a placebo, a shot of saline that does nothing. And Dr. Presti is principal investigator for the Johnson & Johnson trial at Washington University School of Medicine. Johnson & Johnson's Janssen COVID-19 vaccine is one of the emerging adenoviral vector-based vaccine candidates.
Adenovirus 26 is a sort of rare version of adenovirus, but it's a human adenovirus, so common cold kind of virus. It's been mutated so it doesn't replicate, doesn't cause the cold anymore, but now expresses the spike protein from SARS so that you can get an immune response to it and then be immune to subsequent infection with SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19. All of the vaccines are targeting that same spike protein. They're all trying to get a good immune response against the coronavirus.
The successful Moderna and Pfizer mRNA vaccines are a new technology. Before the pandemic, mRNA vaccines have a history of strong immunity against infectious diseases in animal models. The vaccines are not made up of the actual pathogen, meaning they don't contain weakened, dead, or non-infectious parts of the virus. Instead, they contain genetic information about the pathogen.
All you needed was sequence of the virus, and so that's why they were able to come out so quickly and get studied very, very quickly.
mRNA vaccines are safe so far in clinical trials that will continue for about 2 years. Possible side effects are mild to moderate, lasting 2 to 3 days. With the Janssen vaccine, Presti says there's greater confidence about proving safety. She explains this type of vaccine already has a proven safety record for Ebola.
We have safety data in a similar kind of vaccine. So not the same vaccine, but in a similar vaccine in hundreds of thousands of people, and we just don't have as much safety data in the mRNA.
Before this large-scale clinical trial, smaller studies indicate only 1 shot would be needed, opposed to 2 shots about a month apart for mRNA vaccines.
They were able to see that the antibody response was good even with just 1 dose.
The next big challenge is physically getting the vaccines to everyone. Presti says the Janssen vaccine would be a huge bonus because it would only require refrigeration, not freezers.
It would be easier, I think, if Janssen worked as well as Moderna and Pfizer. It might be easier to give that vaccine because you don't need cold storage and you only need a single dose.
And so there's a lot of reasons to continue vaccine studies, and there are a lot of reasons why we can, is because all those doses are not going to be available to everybody.
Way, way, way in the back of this West St. Louis warehouse, back behind the lumber, back behind the insulation, back behind whatever this thing is,
Santa's helpers.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
A teenager can have this for sure. Santa is a principle of giving without asking anything back, and that's what we do.
And they have been doing it for almost 50 years. It is called Santa's Helpers. But in this case, Mr. Claus is a 76-year-old whirlwind of a woman named Rita Sweener.
High five on that one.
Watch her work for just a few minutes, and you might find yourself getting sleigh sick.
Santa's Helper started in 1968. We did the one family for 3 years, and then we got 6 families at a school in North St. Louis, and then it kept growing from there, and now we're over 600 families. That's a 9-month boy, that'll work, okay.
Starting on Christmas Eve and continuing through Christmas Day, dozens of volunteer Santas spread out across St. Louis.
This year we're sending out 42.
Delivering gifts to needy families identified by social service agencies.
They've got to be able to say that they know this family and they can attest the financial needs of the family.
Each child gets several presents, including clothes, books, and toys, ranging from tiny soldiers to large stuffed animals, and in some cases, even a bike.
It's the grandma raising her 4 kids.
Some of the presents are paid for by cash donations. Others come from toy drives and from driving a hard bargain.
I will go to a store manager and say, you got a bunch of these, you need to get rid of them. Give me a good price, I'll take them all off your hands.
Still, the most valuable donations Santa's Helpers gets every year are the helpers themselves, especially since they've added a summertime drop-off for the homeless called Christmas in July.
I go as the elf.
Tim, I need your height.
Tim Adcock has been volunteering here for the past 6 years.
People don't realize how bad others have it. you know, until you're exposed to what others have to live in, you know, and see what they go through. You just don't know, you know. You don't know what you don't know.
Spider-Man paper, too. He should be happy.
And here is something a lot of people don't know about Rita Sweener.
I'm Jewish, raised by a rabbi, Orthodox. 4-year-old, 6, 5 kids. Okay, now we got a 16-year-old.
After 50 years in the Santa business, Rita has lots of pictures and lots of stories, but there is one that is among her favorites.
I got a thank you note from my father, which is very unusual. Mother survived. This was a father, and he says, I lost my job in October. We're in the process of maybe losing our home. I sat down and had a talk with the kids about there is no Santa. He said, we are very, very poor mood, Christmas Eve, and there's a knock at the door, and there stands a man in a Santa suit with a bag of toys, not only for my kids, but for my wife and I. When Santa left, my little 5-year-old tugged my shirt and said, Daddy, you lied. There is a Santa. I will always believe. And he wrote, P.S. I will always believe too.
What started with just a few people in 1967, while Rita was still in college, has grown to an organization of more than 400. So it requires someone at the top capable of running a large enterprise. But Rita may not be that person much longer.
Yeah, those would be great for the moms.
After suffering a near-fatal heart attack last year, she is starting to train others to take her place someday. So far, 9 people have been given jobs that for the past half-century have all been done by this one amazing woman, who proves you don't have to be a man to play Santa, and you don't have to be a Christian to have the Christmas spirit.
We don't do it for religious reasons. We do it to help a kid say, you're important, you mean something, you're special.
For more info, head to santashelpersstl.com. You can find the stories featured in today's show along with past episodes and more at hecmedia.org/spotlight.
Come, they told me, bum-bum-bum-bum. Our newborn king to see, bum-bum-bum-bum. Our finest gifts we bring, to lay before the king. So to honor him, when we come. Little baby, I am a poor boy too. I have no gift to bring. That's fit to give the king. Shall I play for you? On my drum.
the Normandy High School drumline.
Mary nodded, bum 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 bum. The ox and lamb kept time, bum 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 bum. I played my drum for him, bum 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 bum. I played my best for him, bum 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 bum, bum bum bum, bum bum bum. Then he smiled at me, bum 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 bum. Me and my drum, me and my drum. What's a
To see the full concert, head to hecmedia.org. Next week, St. Louis's celebrated Italian-American neighborhood, The Hill, is made famous in a new book. Plus, why litter has been turned into art, and the other exhibits you'll find at the Sheldon Art Galleries. Thanks for watching Spotlight. Join us next Sunday at 9:30 a.m. on KPLR 11.